Hi, I'm Tina, and welcome back to Valley Hatchery's Chicken Support Insights, where we help you raise strong, healthy backyard flocks with confidence. I'm here today with Matt.
Hey everyone.
Today we're talking through what to expect when your chicks arrive, especially if this is your first time or your first order this season. We're going to talk about what's normal, what actually matters in the first day or two, and how to stay calm instead of panicking. All right, let's get into it. So Matt, what should someone do immediately when their chicks arrive?
So when chicks arrive, immediately count them and check for weak or injured birds. Set up a warm brooder with clean bedding, provide water and feed, and make sure all chicks are alert and eating within the first few minutes.
Absolutely. And one thing they can do is definitely get that brooder ready to go ahead of time, test it out, make sure they know where that heat lamp needs to be for that proper temperature. But absolutely.
Yep, and yeah, Tina, how should people assess chick health when they first open the box?
Well, the first thing they should do is look to see if they are standing and chirping and just kind of doing their thing. If they look a little bit lethargic or weak, that is something they need to take note of. So that at that point, they would want to go ahead and take care of their chicks, get them in the brooder, do what they need to do there, and then contact us and let us know. A lot of times it is pretty normal because they've had quite the journey. So they don't always come happy and chirpy and ready to go. And
Yeah.
sometimes they do
Yeah.
need that little rest period.
Yep, I agree.
And Matt, what is the biggest priorities during the first 24 to 48 hours?
Actually, during the first 24 to 48 hours, you just need to focus on providing consistent heat, also hydration, and access to feed. You need to monitor chick behavior rather than handling them constantly. And you need to make sure that you make small adjustments as needed. And remember that stability matters more than perfection.
Absolutely. That's very true. I mean, you can't be prepared enough, but just knowing these basic things can really make the difference for your chicks.
Yeah, what seasonal factors should people keep in mind this month?
Well, this month in particular, of course, we have the weather. Now, we don't typically go by the calendar dates because in some areas, February isn't necessarily that brutal, although lately it's unprecedented is in some of the lower southern states. But the biggest thing is you want to make sure that you have the proper brooder, that you set it up beforehand so that you're ready to go and you know what kind of temperature it's keeping. But also, a lot of people, especially in the warmer states, don't realize that ambient temperature around that brooder is very important. So you always want to make sure, even though you might be in a warmer climate, that that brooder is indoors so that that ambient temperature in that room or dwelling, if you will, that you keep that brooder in does not fluctuate much because little few degrees difference makes it really difficult for the heat lamp to keep up. And huge fluctuations is not going to go well for the chicks, especially when they're really, really young and you just got them. So being very consistent with the temperature outside the brooder, of course the lighting in the brooder, and making sure that they have everything they need. Never set your brooder on a cement floor. And you want to keep it away from drafts like heaters and air conditioning and things like that.
I mean, the calendar doesn't always match the weather.
Absolutely, it doesn't. So Matt, what should someone do immediately when their chicks arrive?
I mean, when chicks arrive, you need to immediately dip their beaks in water to encourage hydration. And check for any weak or injured chicks. Also, set up a warm brooder with clean bedding and provide chick starter feed. And also make sure to monitor their behavior and ensure they are active and drinking.
Absolutely. That's so important. I don't think people realize the significance of dipping their beak in the water because the food they're going to find, that's just natural. They're going to smell that. They're going to go right to it. But the water, they're not going to. So the best way is just to pull out one chick one at a time, as quickly as you can, but efficiently, and dip their beak in the water, set them down, and move to the next chick. That way they at least know it's there and they'll go looking for it. That's super important. As far as when you first get them and how you mentioned that you really need to look at their behavior and all of that, that is so important. They tell you so much. Heat is very
Mm.
important, and the first 8 hours, you want that temperature to be at 100 to 105 degrees just to get them warmed up because they've taken that long journey, like we mentioned, and they really need to warm up. And they do self-regulate, so we need to help them with that. So the first 8 hours, 100 to 105 degrees, then we drop that down to the normal 95 to 100 for the first week. drop it down 5 more degrees the next week, and so on. And this information, too, we should mention, is on the box itself where the shipping label is. So if they rip that open, there's all kinds of great information in there, as well as our website if they forget or they throw that box out and don't pull that out. And of course, calling us, Matt. That's what we're here for. So we're happy to talk with them if they have any questions. But having that brooder set up ahead of time is just really so important, because then they're not trying to rush to figure out the heat, and the chicks don't have to suffer through that. So I think all those things you mentioned are just so crucial.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, warmth and water really comes first, and everything
Mhm.
else they can wait later.
Warm water is important. Watching the chicks themselves. If they're huddling over the heater, check that thermometer, see what that temperature is at. They shouldn't be huddling that way. Or if they're pushed as far away as possible, that might mean it's too hot. So paying attention to their behavior, like you mentioned, is so key. All right, that wraps it up. Hopefully this gives you a calmer, easier start when those chicks arrive.
If you're expecting chicks soon, take a few minutes now to think through your setup and first steps.
And if you've raised chicks before, think back to that first arrival and what you learned.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
See you in the next episode. Bye.